Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing? Let me just double check that my audio is going good. I'm a bit quiet, aren't I? Let me turn that up. I was gaming last night and everything was, everybody was like, "Oh, you're so loud." I'd rather peak than be quiet. Rah. Alrighty. Uh-oh. Looks like somebody realized it was daylight savings time. What is up, Trail Dust? Ben Toons, Shane Lalonde. Uh, Jack Pines is in the house. We've got y'all are just chatty Cathy's. What up, Transcendental Artist Studios? Good morning, all caps. How y'all doing? And of course, hello to all the lurkers and those of you who will be showing up later. Um, I suppose I really think daylight savings screwed everybody up. See, I should have messaged everybody because I remembered it just before I went to bed, and I went around and changed all my clocks so that when I woke up it would be like perfect. All right, I hear a little bit. I hear just a little bit out of you there, Alex.
What's that?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Did you just wake up?
Well, I did, but I've got no voice this morning, so I mean, I mean, literally.
It is no big deal. Don't strain yourself. I have. I figured I would talk today about air sources and tweers and all that stuff, and how that ties in. Maybe even go into fire pots. I have a whiteboard that I can pop up and draw pictures for the people because everybody knows people loves pictures, and I'm the king of hot air.
Yeah, yeah. I don't
So
know what happened. I mean, like uh, what do you call it? I know time change and all, but I mean, it's my phone. It's automatic, and it just went off, and I'm like, okay, and I was like, I got an hour. I laid in bed for a minute, and then I was like, I guess I'll get up. Screw it. And I got up and peed and all that, and I walked over here to the computer, and then I just kind of like side eyed the corner, and it said 9:06 a.m. And I was like, Dafook, what? And I looked at it again, and then I like got closer and closer, and then I grabbed my reading glasses, and I was like, 9:06. That can't be right. and then I said that out loud, and I was like, oh, I can't talk. So here
hmm
I am.
yeah, no, don't strain your voice. I was actually, it's like watching. Um, I don't know why I went on a biological medical binge the other day, and they were talking about like strained voices and losing your voice and everything, and now kind of where that I guess where it mentally ties to me is being a public speaker, so to speak. um, it's like I've learned to like project and it's like I actually have to talk quieter when I have a mic right here because like I can go into a field and talk and everybody can hear me and not strain my voice because I've learned how to do that. And if you're trying to whisper to save your voice, you're actually putting more strain on your vocal cords, on your larynx than if you were to try to talk normally with a lost voice. It hurts more, but it does less damage than whispering. Because whispering, you're tightening your vocal cords to put out a less, loud voice. You know.
If you say so.
Yeah. Bottom line, is don't worry about talking if you can't. Um, but yeah. So I guess we can go to how was my week because I'm not gonna ask you to speak on how your week was unless you absolutely want to.
No, I'll go quick. It was just there. Yeah. How was that? What the
That
hell, man? I don't. Everything was fine. I played a freaking 7 Days to Die marathon all day yesterday, except I'm playing with mods, so I'm playing District 9. It's a little bit different. Instead
oh
of zombies,
cool.
it's all robots and stuff. And
Cool.
anyway, so I did that all day, and yeah, like I said, I don't know. I woke up and it's like, oh, I can't speak, and like, what the hell's going on? I don't know. Um, I
Yeah.
did a massive amount of editing of podcasts this week. That's what I did. That's what I got done. I got
Nice.
all of season 2 uploaded. I think what's today's date? Date number?
The 10th.
Tomorrow will be the last episode pops out tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. That'll be the end of season 2, and I'm gonna take a few days before I start season 3 with January 7th and start rolling with that, and it'll probably take me, once I get going, a few days to get all those caught back up. But I got that
Right.
stuff going on. So just for you, Kevin, because I know you
He plays it for
your
his
life,
horses.
yeah, your life hinges upon not playing reruns continuously. Um, Also, tell me what you think. I did lose access to like the audio, the transition audio breaks, like the stuff at the beginning, the stuff at the end that I was using. I don't have that anymore because Spotify kind of did away with that in the creative stuff. And
Hmm.
but I was able to start adding ad breaks for monetization. I don't know if they're doing anything. Have you heard any ads on the new stuff, Kevin? In the first 10 to 15 seconds, there should be one or two, but there may not be. I don't know. I selected to insert the pre-roll ad breaks, but whether or not that's working or not, I don't know. And I promise it's not being greedy. It's just, yeah, hey, I've got the opportunity. Let's see if it'll do it. I don't know.
Right.
That's my week. That's my week. I woke up this morning and I don't. I'm gonna try to listen and not talk. So I'll
Yeah.
turn it over to you, Thomas, and I'm gonna go make a cup of coffee and maybe that'll help, or maybe some tea. There we go.
Yep. Um, Turtle Dust says he hasn't heard any ads yet, so there's that. Um, my week, I actually had it was a busy first part of the week, and then like it was, get stuff done, get stuff done. It was, pouring rain. Monday we had a meter change out, which usually scheduled for 2 days, and I got it done in record time, and I have to attribute that to me and my helper were like on the ball, and Jeannie was like on the ball. If I needed something, like we were real close to the store, so it was like if I needed something, she ran and got it, and it was like, here, hold this. Okay, it was like, all right, drill, boom, boom, boom. It was like surgery, and we allow a lot of time for those because if something goes wrong, you want to have the time to fix it or deal with it or kind of whatever. And nothing went wrong. It went beautifully, went smooth, and thankfully because we were chasing the rain, like like it was Monday morning and like late Monday morning or Monday around noon, it was supposed to just turn from like no rain to just deluge, and we got it started sprinkling. We got it done, got closed up, called for inspection, and as the inspectors pulled up, it just the inspector was like, oh, come on. And we got they're like, okay, good. And got it done in like an hour and a half, 2 hours or something like that. It went like crazy quick. um that might be one of the reasons why I started hurting my shoulder on that, because I was moving so quick. Because the same thing happened on Tuesday, except with a different job. It was like chase the rain, chase the rain. I'm in and out, in and out. And then Wednesday, it's like the job we had. It was like It rained 3 days straight. Like I pulled up on the job on Wednesday, and it's like there was nowhere to park that didn't have like 4 inches of water, and my helper's wearing tennis shoes, and he's like, I'm like, yeah, well, I mean, yeah, you knew it was raining, buddy. Um, but let me see. Things have changed. How do I click on show all participants? Um, oh, you don't get to click on that. That's me because nobody else has a video on. If I do it, it's this. But this doesn't matter right now. This is all who's listening and in the call. I don't know if John, this is John and Turtle Dust and Alexis and then me. I have this off in case anybody throws videos on. So, but I have a whiteboard to go over that. But anyway, yeah, and then Thursday hit, and it's like, nope, nothing for today. Finished all your jobs early this week. And I'm like, and then Friday I did a whole bunch of estimates, some big estimates, and then spent the day on the computer typing them all in and getting them set. And yeah, yesterday I was out. It was raining, but it's like I had to move some stuff around in the yard, and I had to move. It's like because of the constant rain this week, it was like I had to get into the shop and move some stuff around. And I think I tweaked my shoulder a bit more. Like my shoulder blade back here is just. I mean, I could use some Vicodin. I'll tell you what. Moving generators around in the garage. So yeah, I'm kind of beat up today.
What she said.
You right. But yeah, so today, it might be a quick show. It might not be. We'll see. But today we're talking air. We're continuing our spring breeze, our air sources. Past couple of weeks we talked about the different sources of air, like hair dryer, vacuum, bellows, hand crank blowers, etc., etc. Today I kind of want to talk about what connects the air source to the fire pot itself. I kind of want to go into a little bit more details about the Tuyeres and the different designs that I have seen. And I do have a MS Paint whiteboard set up for that. Let me see. But I need to have it sized right just for my own personal. All right. We're going to draw some pictures. So, but I mean, for those of you who know what a Tuyeres is, a Tuyeres is probably one of the most important parts of a bottom draft forge. Really, even a side draft forge. It's what pushes the air or channels the air from the source to the fire, the little chunk of fire itself. And in a side draft or in certain instances, you want to do what you can to keep that cool. So you'll see some side blast forges and furnaces and whatnot with a water cooled Tuyeres to keep it. Can I spell that? Yes, I can. I can try. All right, let me see if I have text on here. Tools. Yes. Select. Come on. Let's go with centered. Tuyeres. Oh, that's really small, isn't it? Isn't that really small? That's really small. No, nope. Cancel.
That's
Escape.
No.
Hold on.
Never mind.
I can fix it. I can fix it. Tools. Hold on. Okay. I am not used to MS Paint. I should have just done this in Photoshop. That's not what I want. Escape. How do you select what you've already done? Escape. All right. Selection. Rectangle. There we go. Did I spell it right? Did I spell it right? I don't know. Anyway. Tuyeres. I screwed it up, didn't I? Where am I at? Oh. Let me just double check. Did I? No, I swear I spelled it right, didn't I? No, I didn't. Anyway,
No. Close
somebody
enough.
help.
See, even if you misspell it, we still know what you're talking about, and you can't possibly
No,
be
this
talking
has to
about something else.
be right. Tweer.
I mean, we know you're not talking about the cheesy substance in between toes right there. I mean, we know you're not. You know, it's not a tote. Shit, I can't even make a good joke. Toyer.
It's spelled right. Shut
tote.
up. That's spelled right. Yeah,
Come on,
2 year.
somebody's got to give you.
Yeah. So, let me play with shapes here. All right, you have. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Shapes. Give me a shape. That, and all right. So you have your fan. Let's have fun with this and make this a fan. All right. That's a fan. Sure. Make it a fan, right? Okay. You guys are, that's not a fan. All right. Let's go with
Let's not make a political statement now, shall we? No.
that's so you've got the fan and you've got the air, the pipe coming off of the fan. Stop it. Escape. Okay. Then you've got. Ugh. Forgive my bad drawing. Maybe I should just do line drawings. I could move this. Select. Okay.
Forgot the ash dump.
Oh yeah, no. Hold on, I'm getting to that. All right, what I don't like about this is it's like with Photoshop, it's like it's one button to go to arrow, which an arrow you can select and move, but I don't know where the arrow select is on this. So it's like mer. All right. So shapes. I saw a shape that would work perfectly for a. No, it won't. Okay. Polygon. Let's try this. It's gonna be like, yeah, go fire pot.
So just envision Weezer. You got your big deals. I got my ash dump. Yeah, but I'm tish.
Yes. All right, this is what we'll do. All right, so you have your air source with the nozzle connected to a pipe, and then typically for a, oh come on, let it go. Stop it. Just give me a. You guys are like, you're an idiot, Yamez. Give me just lines. Yes. All right. And I'll tell you, my hands are shaking for some reason, nerve damage and all that. All right. So in mine, I have it set up. Like that, and then I've got a little flapper here. All right, now I'm not going to get too fancy with it, but so I have a little flapper here that the ash dump collects, and it's got a weight right here. All right, and a little bar that I can tap, and then that opens up and dumps the ash. So the most basic of Tuyeres for a bottom draft forge is a pipe leading to the horizontal pipe leading to the vertical pipe. Air goes poop. Whether this is hand crank or electric doesn't matter. We're not talking about that. All right. Why are you guys making fun of me? Stop making fun of me. All right. Very obvious. The air comes in here and shoots out the top. And up here, oh man, I really should have done this in Photoshop, because I could even take and grab a bit of coal and put it there. And let's see what my brushes I have. Nothing. Paint sucks. All right. But yeah, so air. Ooh, 1 pixel. And I can make it wispy. Air comes in here and then goes. Right? Right? Makes sense? Good? Right. Oh, this is going to make a horrible podcast. I just realized that, because this is all visual. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all good.
All right. I'm a visual person.
So far we've got 15 minutes. 15 minutes of you going, yeah, okay, and just like this, and yeah, and
Right.
that's okay though, because Kevin's the only one that listens. He's watching, and so when he's listening to it, he's gonna see this in his head anyways. So it'll be okay.
Right. Oh, yes, somebody gave him his crayons. Well, okay, so if I may, I got all excited, but not excited, but like, usually when I'm the only one doing the stream, because for whatever reason, if Alexis is sick or it's an Adam off week or whatever, it's usually just my face on the screen, and I'm just reading the chat going, and I would get yelled at, like, oh, you put on a horrible show when you're by yourself. I'm like, I know, that's why I got some co-hosts. And so it's like, all right, like I had a feeling that today with the change in the times and everything, it was gonna be like, all right, I guess I'm gonna be solo. Everybody's still asleep. I forgot what day it was too, so it was like I'm like, yeah, Adam's late. I'm like, oh wait, it's his off week. And I'm like, oh, I got an idea. I'll do a whiteboard and I'll draw my ideas. I'll draw what I'm doing. I'm like, all right, I've got this half of the screen that I can play with that I don't normally have, and I didn't even think I need to portray this with audio so that it works in a podcast. So if this does make it to podcast, or if portions of this make it to podcast, everybody visualize, a YouTube video where I have a whiteboard that I'm drawing horribly, I might add, on the side of my face. Not on my face, but like next to my face on the screen. So if this accidentally makes it to a podcast, you should have been in the show, because it was hilarious watching me struggle using MS Paint. I know that there are MS Paint artists out there that, it's like boom, boom, boom. And let me see what co-creator does. Introducing Paint co-creator. Get access. I ain't joining access. No. All right. But yeah, so I mean, your basic Tuyer, it's like air. It's a simple pipe leading to the bottom of the forge to bring the air from the source to the fire. And I'm not going to go so much into the specifications of a fire pot and the size dimensions. That's we've got 3 more weeks of fire or of air source that we can go into that.
I thought the Tuyer specifically the barrier between like the pipe and the forge, like the grate, the grill, the clinker breaker, that
would be part of the. Yeah, I mean, technically the Tuyer is only the channel for the air. Okay, a clinker breaker would be the transition. A grill, the grill grate, that would be a separate thing. That would be what separates, I guess, the forge anatomy of a Tuyer to the fire pot. It would go Tuyer grate slash clinker breaker to
Oh, you've got
fire
it.
pot.
You're special. You've got a Tuyer and a clinker breaker.
I know who's got. I don't have my grate is a flat piece of metal that I took and cut an X into. It's like you've seen my freaking grill. It's rough. But
Yeah, mine is. Say the one here in Midland is like a cast iron like one that I thought was just like part of a shower drain or something like that. But when we were at Quad State this last year, I saw actually somebody was selling those exact ones, and I was like, oh, hey, that's just like it's like I can get another
right,
year out before I buy one. And
right,
then
right,
the one at my house is I took a piece of 3/8 plate, and then I drilled 1/8 holes in it, like 60 some odd 1/8 holes in it, and that's my tweer.
right.
And that's actually not too bad. The only downside though is if I do get molten copper down that deep, it does kind of tend to plug up a hole and it doesn't just pop right out like the way the clinker does. Clinker just popped right off of it. But
Well, what you got to do is you got to kind of season your cast iron grate. You got to like a cast iron pan, otherwise everything sticks to it. So you got to bake it in oil and season it. And spray some
mm,
Pam on it before you start, so nothing sticks to it. Right? Isn't that how it works?
I'll have to give that a shot. No, I hadn't heard that.
I haven't heard it either. I just made it up.
No, I know.
But if you think
It's
about it, if you
worth
think
a
about it,
shot.
if you think about it, the air keeps the grate cooler than the fire pot. The fire is actually, a few inches above the grate, ideally. So you have cool air right there by the grill. So it shouldn't burn off the seasoned oil. If it does, you've got problems. No, no, just me. I'm trying to make a half-ass joke. Um,
I don't know, man. Say the on a K. I don't know. I'm just trying to think. I'm like of where like it's hard to say because like I'm not really sure where my clinker is at any given point in time because I don't know where my clinker is until the fire's cooled off and I reach in there with a thing and I pull out this um
donut.
donut or disc, and it's like, whoa, look at that.
Yeah, it's
It's always exciting to pull out this massive piece of dragon poop.
I don't get those. I get like little bits of clinker. It's like I have clinker envy when somebody pulls out a massive chunk of clinker. That actually would make a good blacksmith shirt. What you said, it's like, do you know where your clinker is? It's 5 a.m. Do you know where your clinker is?
You've been forging for 6 hours. Do you know where your clinker is?
Ah, but yeah.
Oh
So
god.
yeah, it's like you've got the basic. I pulled the whiteboard off. It's embarrassing having my horrible paint drawing on there. It didn't work like I thought it would. So I got you on the screen here, Alexis. Um, the like I said, the basic thing is, it's like you have to have a way to bring the air to the bottom of or to the fire, and you have to have a way to. What are you doing? Are you translating?
I'll be your ASL translator
I
today.
was gonna say if that's not ASL, it'll remind me of that. Like, okay, during Irma, during the news reports leading up to Irma and everything, they had it was almost like they shouted to the crowd before they went live. Like the governor, or mayor, or whatever of Broward or Broward County and um, or Dade, Miami-Dade County or whatnot, and they're like, "All right, does anybody know sign language?" And then just somebody raised their hand, they pulled them up, put them on screen, and they're doing this and everything while they're explaining the evacuation processes and like the dangers and this and that, and like it turned, and they didn't find out until like afterwards, but the person didn't know sign language. They literally just jumped up and moved their hands a bit, like, and like the it was, nobody noticed until somebody called in and like, what? So it was like it was if you look up YouTube examples of like sign language translator fails, there's some pretty fun ones. You know.
uh, oh my gosh, I was watching one yesterday because so I follow or not follow, but I've seen a couple on my FYP on TikTok that's some lady that teaches you how to cuss in ASL, and the only one that I still remember is and I'm not gonna say that one out loud, but maybe you can figure it out, maybe you can't. But then I saw one yesterday which had an ASL interpreter in for and for a comedian. And the comedian's just sitting there going along telling his story or whatever, and then he says touch it, or he says like, and I'm not even gonna touch it, and then the sign language is like I don't know, it's some weird stuff, and the comedian just stops and he's like, wait, what? And he says touch it, and she did it again, and then it's like everybody just busts out. I don't know. It's funny just in screw it. You had to be there.
Yeah, no, I know. I've heard a lot of comedians talk about messing with their sign language translators. you, you put a comedian in a sign because the sign when you're doing sign language, from what I've heard from people talking about it, when you're doing translating sign language and everything, like you're a translator. You're not a it's automatic. It's if you're good at your job with that, like what they say comes out here, and you don't change it, because you don't know what their act is supposed to be, so you're not like changing it or anything like that. And the guy was going on about it. It was like, yeah, I didn't realize it was the first time I had a American Sign Language translator, and she was copying everything I was saying, and I'm like, I gotta know. And then I said, okay, how we're all adults here, correct? So I can say spicy things without y'all be like, ooh, my sensibilities. The comedian's like, I wonder what it is. He goes, blowjob, and he goes, the sign language lady, she just goes, and so I just stood there and said, blowjob, 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 and she's it's like, oh my god.
That totally sounds like a Matt Rife bit, but
it might have been. But, but yeah, so yeah. Anyway, back to Tuyeres. Speaking of blowjobs,
Drew Lynch
could have been.
I don't know. No, Ben Toon said not Drew, and I was just like, I just went Drew Lynch, the comedian that used to, the stuttered or whatever used to be on like what was it, America's Got Talent, I think. I don't know. I listen
to stand up. I listen to stand up comedy a lot on Pandora, so I don't even know who. Sometimes it just pops up.
I got us all kind of sidetracked on
you
over
did.
here. You were talking about air sources and Tuyeres, and you drew a nice. You actually drew a really good picture of the air hose thing pipe and why and then that it was really, I mean, like I didn't see where that was going at first. I was like, what is this mess of rectangles? And then it's like, oh, that actually worked out. But
thank you.
Tell me more about Tuyeres there, because like I'm sorry I derailed the conversation there, and
That's all right.
we would all much rather listen to you talk about hot air than
right?
talk about Rife and ASL flubs.
Well, so like I said, I feel that I have a fairly standard Tuyer setup, because it's a logical progressions. Like some people, when they first get into it, they're like, they literally just put like some air, go. And then they go, oh, I have to clear the ash out after or while I'm forging, or while I'm forging, not after I'm forging. And in the forums and everything, it's constantly like, how do you get the ash out of your air pipe? And somebody who knows, like, do you mean tweer? And they're like, what's that? And it starts this whole conversation. So it's like, if you don't put an ash dump, you pretty much gotta disassemble and knock out all the ash, or you gotta, clear the fire away from the fire pot and crank the air so hard, shoots ash everywhere.
I don't know
Huh?
what it is now. Every time I hear you say somebody say ash dump, I in my head I hear Weezer saying hash pipe, like to
um,
the music and everything.
Trail dust. I could listen to the podcast in sign language. Yeah, there we go. Have a YouTube talk show turned podcast where it's all ASL, and they're just no talking, and then put it to a podcast, and it's like upload it to a podcast, and it's an hour of just
I could transcribe it into what do you call it, like
AI voice.
closed captioning, and then have my stepdad or the ASL and like speak the way he speaks. And I'm not. Oh God, no! I do a really good Mike impression, but Mike's my mom's husband. I do a really good Mike impression, but I am not gonna do that on video.
Right. Sorry, I just realized the wind blew my curtains closed, and they got really dark in here. Um, but yeah, so other ways you can do the ash dump. I have just a simple flapper, and that's what I've seen the most. Other ways you can do it, other ways that I've seen it, is a screw-on bottom. Like somebody will take threaded black pipe, and they'll make their tweer out of that, and they'll have just a inch and a half plumber's cap at the bottom of it, and they'll sit there and just wrench that off and let the ash fall, and then they'll screw it back on. I mean, it works. It's a little bit more effort, and if you've ever tried to thread something on with grit and sand and stuff, clinker is a pain on threads. I've threaded some stuff that said clinker on it. It sucks. And But yeah, so just a simple little flapper, a hinge with a flapper, a weight to hold it closed, and a bar that you can hit it with your tongs or something so that it goes whoop, whoop, and then dump your ash. Yet, Trail Dust brings up, mine has a steel plate that swivels to the side. That is another common thing, much like a topper to a smoker, where you can adjust how much smoke comes out. Just a simple plate on a hinge that slides open and closed. That absolutely also works. A slide gate, and pretty much any way that you can open it easily and close it easily, because the last thing you want to do is like stop what you're doing and fiddle with it, and take a screwdriver or a wrench and undo it and take it apart and all that stuff, because that just takes away from productivity. Huh?
But do you mess with it at any time, like during forging? I mean, like, because
Yes.
like for me, mine are both side swivel things, but like I dump them before I light the fire, and then I'm not gonna mess with it again until the next time I light the fire. Like it doesn't. I mean, like, okay, so
It's
on the one at home, I've got like 6 inches between the gate and then where the air comes in, so it's like a 6 inch drop. And then the one here on my little rivet forge, it's only like maybe an inch and a half. And like I even this last time when I was working on my monthly blacksmith challenge, part of it, I just wasn't getting any air. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? And then I was like, oh, I wonder, and I slid the ash dump open, and it's just this great big pile of stuff came out. And then all of a sudden my fire roared to life. I was like, oh, I was a little clogged up there because, I've only got, like from the Tuyer to the ash dump is only like 4 inches. So,
You kind of answered your own question there. Sometimes
well,
you
I mean,
need to, sometimes you don't.
that in that particular case, I hadn't dumped the ash before I started.
Right.
I didn't think about it, but typically, like I don't, I only do that right before I light the fire, and that's it. So, and I will have to say, in both cases, it is kind of a production. Um, to like lean under there and I don't know. I wish it were simpler, like you could just tap a little thing and it goes whoop doop, but
Yeah.
there's no whoop to it. It's a
See,
tap 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 tap.
see what I did, and if you wanted to adapt yours, I took a long flat plate, right? Because I got a 2 inch square tube is my tweer. I took a long 2 inch, like little, yeah, about 2 inch, 2.5 inch bar stock, flat bar stock, and I welded pieces to it to make one side. I welded a chunk of steel to it so that it was heavier on the back end to hold it up, and then I welded a little bar on it for me to tip. And what I did across the top is I welded like a 1/4 inch round stock to be sort of an axle or whatever, or a hinge, and on the square pipe I put two nuts. I put them on the thing, or put them on the 1/4 inch bar, and then held it up there, and then tack welded them. Boom, so that the nuts acted like the what would it be called, the female side of the hinge. What is that called? The other part of the hinge.
Yeah, boy, I got jokes.
Yeah, well, you know what I'm saying. Like there are easier ways to do that, but I mean that's the way I did it, and basically just real quick and dirty. You know, tap it with a.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, if you were to get all sciencey with it, which you probably could, and math it out, you could probably figure out the weight of the ash where it reaches a certain point in the tweer to where it'll automatically dump at a certain weight, and like adjust the fulcrum to do that. You know.
Well, the way I did mine is like I took the round tube and I stuck it down on a piece of flat plate, and then I stuck a nut and a bolt right next to it, and I welded the bolt to the plate, and I welded the nut to the tube, and then so like the plate will unscrew, like spin down, and then
Oh.
spin, and so it just, and when the bolt tightens, it spins up closed, and it still doesn't quite seal as good as I would like it to, but as soon as I get a little bit of ash in there, it's fine.
Yeah, it doesn't really need to seal. You know. Um. And here's the thing for you. Do you have any?
And I got such a big ass blower at the house that, I mean, like actually not sealing would be more preferable because even on the lowest speed, that thing just puts out an insane amount of air.
Yeah. Here's a possible solution for you, and you can mechanize this. Um, do you have a flap? Like, is the flap of metal the size of the bottom of the hole, or does it overlap a bit?
Are you asking me?
Yes, you.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a little bit bigger.
So take it off, unscrew it off, drill a hole where it would be the front of it, the way that you would pull it or push it to close it, and then take like a hanger would work good, and straighten out the hanger, and then like loop the end around it, and then have that set, like in a little nut or something with a little hand, bend a handle into the hanger so that's right, like below your table, your fire pot. So all you have to do is like pull and push, and it opens and closes it without having to get down and tap it. You know, maybe. Did you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I got you. I got you. I hadn't thought of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Hey, sometimes a second opinion and a second eye on something. I didn't know that's what you were doing with your ash dump. And while yes, you're correct, you don't absolutely need to dump the ash while forging, but it makes it easier when you do need to.
You know what the most fun is? is spending 45 minutes trying to light a fire and getting so frustrated, and then realizing that your ash dump has been wide open the whole time, and you're like, I'm an idiot.
That's why I
Tell
have
me,
mine auto
tell me I'm
close.
not. Yeah, tell me I'm not the only one that's done that.
I've done that, but it wasn't because of my ash dump. It was because the 3-inch metal pipe that I have. I have a flex tube going to my or to my air source. That popped off, and I didn't realize it. I'm lighting the fire, and it's like I'm not looking down at it, and I'm turning my dial to crank the air, and it's like I'm hearing, and I'm like, there's no air coming out. What's going on? It's just not lighting. Freaking presence of mind to go, oh, yeah,
Yeah,
I've been there.
in my case, I just airflow. It looks like working, but yeah, no.
Yeah, yeah, um, but yeah, like the ability to effortlessly open and close your ash dump, and you can even do that for those of you who use a slide gate to control your air, and every time you do it, you reach down under and you're adjusting. You can do the same thing. Put a piece of bar stock or some sort of a, you know, hinged mechanism that you can right at the top of your forge, right where your workspace is. You can just go and pull a handle and it opens or closes. You know, so it's like you can take and engineer some really cool features to your Tuyer. It's not always just a pipe. There are other features, and I mean that leads also into clinker breakers if you're one to have one of those. I've seen people with a clinker breaker kind of set up where they've got to reach under, and it's just like this little bar on the side of the top of their Tuyer where they have to reach under and turn it, and it's like you're putting your hand really close to the fire pot, and when you're reaching down, you're putting your face really close to the forge. You just put a little so that you control it right there. I'm all about setting everything into a, stand in one spot, be able to control everything. You know, so like Jeff Killian says, it's a slide gate that can act as a draft control. If you need to have a little bit less air and for yours, you can use and open it up a little bit, but you use a hand crank with the added, the turbo of the hair dryer taped to it, right? So it's like, yeah, that would be, when you're using your powered air, use your slide gate or you use your slide gate ash dump as a bit of air control, so it's not constant on. If
No, well, I got the hair dryer on the hand crank on the little one here at work. My one at home is the one that's got that little slide gate type situation going on with a 4-inch inline blower, so to speak. The hubcap sent me. I mean, this thing's
yeah,
like this big round, and then it
yeah,
necks down to 4 inch, and like with a rheostat, and you turn that sucker all the way down, and it's still just like it'll blow all the coke and coal right out of the forge.
oh,
It's just like if you stand on, before you light it, if you like get it all set up and you just like set a big old hammer on top of the foot pedal, by the time it gets cranked up, it'll blow everything off of the Tuyer and clean it off.
all right,
It's a
oh,
massive amount of air, but yeah.
yeah, um,
Now, hey,
so
I got a
yeah,
question about breakers.
about clinker breakers, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm curious as to their necessity, functionality, or if it's just like this fancy thing that people like to brag about. Because I'm this is a serious question because I don't know. I've never forged on a forge with a clinker breaker on it, with the
Yep,
exception of um
Johns,
Steve.
Johns,
Does Johns have one?
yes, you just have never used
Oh,
it.
I've never. Okay, I was not aware of that. Steve's did, and I knew his did, but and I did like twist it, but it didn't really do anything, and so I'm
It's
kind of curious as to if that is because like on my forge, like I just forge the hell along, and you know, and if I don't screw with the clinker, when I get done, I get this nice little donut that I pulled out. However, if I you know, like I'm poking at it and digging around in there while it's all smoking hot, it's kind of like it's like in it's still liquid, you know what I mean? And so like I wind up like making a bunch of small pieces of clinker if I screw with it. I don't know. Does I don't even know what I'm trying to ask.
It's
Does clinker
I know what you're
does
trying to
clinker
ask.
interfere with the airflow so much that a clinker breaker is practical, or is it just, oh,
It's
I'm fancy now?
it's a tool to make instances easier. Okay, so no, you don't need a clinker breaker. However, like, okay, so when I've worked on a forge with a clinker breaker, and I'm noticing the airflow starting to get a little choked up, first thing I'll do is I'll take and with the clinker breaker, see if that clears it up. If that doesn't, I mean, if it does, cool, keep going. I mean, I can't see in the fire, so I don't know what is causing the issue. In my fire pot, I don't have a clinker breaker, so I'm used to taking a poker and sticking it down in the very bottom of the fire and like kind of like lifting it up. And if I stick it down and lift it up, and I notice that wow, that air really gets much better, I know that I've got a chunk of clinker down there. So it's like I'll let the fire cool down a little bit and lift that clinker and pull it up, start pulling it out. I could not tell you if a clinker breaker would break that donut or that chunk out. It's really more for if the clinker cools off or whatever and starts breaking apart and getting stuck in the grill, where you want to like break it and let it drop down.
See, there's nothing quite as much fun as like the last time I was at your house and I'm forging on your forge, and you're doing your thing, I'm doing my thing, I'm getting the fire lit, and I start digging around in there, or I don't know if it was when I was getting it lit, it's probably halfway through the night. I'm digging around in there, I'm like, ooh, got some clinker, and I pulled out the Tuyeres. I'm like, oops, that's not a clinker, but it felt like one, I mean, like because I just hooked one of the little holes there, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's a clinker right there.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, got to try to save this one.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not going to sit there and say a clinker breaker is required. I've had friends offer to build me a fire pot with a clinker breaker in it, and I'm like, sure, if you want to, but I don't feel it's necessary. It's kind of like I would attribute it to automatic windows versus hand crank windows. It's like both ways to do it gets the window open.
Yeah,
Both ways do it.
I've always wanted one, and like every year, who is it that makes that fire pot with the
Fiery Furnace Forge, Dave
Clay
Custer.
Spencer?
Dave
Custer, yeah, there you go. Dave Custer, yeah. Every year I eyeball one of them things, and I'm like, or I go there and I'm thinking, this is the year I'm buying that fire pot, and so
I've said that 3 years in a row.
Me too. I've said that 3 years in a row, and I still don't have one.
I even walk up to Dave and I'm like, "This is the year," and he goes, "Uh-huh."
Oh yeah, that's funny.
But no, for me to get a new fire pot, I would have to pretty much tear apart my entire forge and redo my entire setup. Because yeah, I've got the Franken pot, so yeah. Exactly, Eric. The clinker breaker helps with some clinker, but not all of it. And if it was some magic, you turn a dial and the clinker disappears, cool. But it's not that. It's not that at all. It's for I need some air right now to finish this little bit, and I don't feel like doing a clean out, because to get the full amount of clinker out, that's what you got to do. Let the fire cool down a bit, to let the clinker solidify, and then you've got to reach in and grab it out. That's the only way to get it all out. So, yeah. I will say, wow, we took Tuyeres and the conversation surrounding Tuyeres to an hour. Including the "How was your week?" and all that stuff, um, and a little bit of a sign language break. So what I might do is save the image that I drew today and send it to you, Alexis, so that can be the um, image for the podcast, and you can
Oh
put in the
no, for sure,
description
for sure, for sure. Give me that. Send me that, and I'll so totally put that for the image for the episode.
the thumbnail. Yeah, yeah, absolutely, and that way, because it's like, well, this actually did turn into a good podcast video. But anyway, so with that, do we have any final thoughts? I know that we have 3 more weeks of air source and related stuff. I think we might push that into also fire pots and the fireball. Basically work through and up. So do you have any final thoughts on air control and Tuyeres?
I got nothing that's enough substance to strain my voice with. So
Okay.
I'm gonna leave it there and say y'all have a great week, and uh, I am going to have a hell of a dysphoric time when I edit this episode because I can hear my voice and it's making me cringe right now. I'm really looking forward to hearing it back.
It
It's gonna
doesn't
be
sound
great.
too bad. It doesn't sound too bad.
So
They,
y'all
they,
have
they
a great
even,
week.
yeah,
Hmm?
they even commented in the chat that it sounds like you're getting better. Hope you don't strain your voice.
Uh,
But yeah, my final thoughts, as usual, are thank y'all for supporting. Thank y'all for hanging out with us. I know you guys all know this, but remember, this is for new Smiths coming into the picture. Um, so with that, I guess I'll play Adam's outro. You
wait,
know, okay.
wait. This is actually something that I've really been curious about. Eric said just coming in at the wire there. My side blast was great. Let all the clinker fall to the bottom out of the way of the airflow. I've always wondered where the freaking clinker goes. If it like balls up by the air source, or if it like
It melts
I
down.
don't like I don't the whole physics of where the clinker goes in a side blast. I've never actually seen a side blast other than like on video, the one that Daniel Moose uses. But I mean, like if the air source is up higher, I guess that you would have that area where it would fall down. But if your side blast was like even with I don't know. I mean, like no, sorry, Eric, or Yamez. I mean, like I just kind of got sidetracked by that comment of the side blast and the clinker, and I was like, wait.
Yeah. Maybe next week we can go into Side Blast Tweers and
Oh
discuss
yeah,
that.
a whole day on that, huh?
Well, I mean,
It falls into the hole below the airflow. It's semi-liquid side blast, isn't it? Okay. Fair enough now.
all right. So with that, we're gonna play Adam's outro. I don't know how updated we have this. It's been a couple years, but
See you guys on St. Patty's Day.
yeah, is that the next one?
Yep.
16th to the 17th. Yeah, all right. I'll have a Guinness during the show. Why not? Let's go. All right. And 60 seconds of Adam talking.
Just say thank you very much for listening, guys. You can find Yamez on at Island Metal Forge on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. You can find Alex at Transcendental Artist Studios on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And you can find me, Adam, at Speargrass Forge on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. If you have any suggestions for Tool of the Week, Metal of the Week, or any other topic, you can leave them under the hashtag Metal of the Week in the YouTube community chat in Discord, or you can email us at impracticalblacksmiths@gmail.com. If you found us on Anchor, Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, or Google Podcasts, we upload generally every Wednesday, or you can join us live every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's currently 12:30 a.m. Australian Central Standard Time on Monday morning. However, you should check that against your local time, and that's located at the Island Metal Forge YouTube channel. Finally, thanks for joining us, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, or give us a star rating if you found us on one of the podcasts, and we appreciate your support. Now,
Thank you very much, Adam. We appreciate you. Anyway, with that, guys, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and hope to see y'all get some productivity done. And Jack Pine goes live in an hour. If I can make it, I will be there. I have to call a developer, though. You guys have a wonderful day.